loves books. Today I'm going to be talking about my worst books I read in 2022. My least favorite books. So today I'm just going to crap on some books, which I feel bad about because some people, these are their favorite books. And if they're your favorite books, I apologize. I just did not like them. And I also feel a little bad because that obviously an author wrote this book and this is like their baby. But this is for fun. I don't have any of these books because I didn't like them. So I think I do have one, but I'm not going to try to find it. And the only reason I still have it is because Joe wants to read it. Because I was explaining it to him and he's like, oh, I think I might like that book. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'll keep it so you can read it. So maybe you'll find out you think one of these books sounds interesting and you want to read it. Well, that'd be cool. So let me know if that happens. Or if you read them and didn't like them too. So I have them all written down. The first book I have on here it's called Aint Nobody, Nobody. I do not remember the author. I probably should have written it down. I'll make Joe put a picture. But this book, it is, when I read the back, I thought it was going to be like a thriller book. And it wasn't. So, maybe that's on me. It's probably on me. It was kind of like a mystery book. It's this mystery, I'm pretty sure, oh, yes. So, this guy, he used to be a cop. Something happened, and he's no longer a cop. I don't remember what he does, if he does anything. But he lives right next door to his, best friend. And they own, a ranch. And then just one day, there's, this dead body on the fence. So, it's, trying to figure out who this person is, why they're there, what happened, and all that. I don't know. It was fine. It was just fine. I just didn't like it. It was so freaking slow. And then I just didn't really care about the, mystery part. The stuff they found out. I didn't care. I just didn't care. I don't know. And I felt bad, but I just didn't care. So there's that. The next one, I have crapped on this book before. It's called 9 Lives by Peter Swanson. It is a Agatha Christie and Then There Were None ripoff. It's not even inspired by. He just changed the names and the time period and then talked about the freaking book the whole time. He just talked about Agatha Christie and Then There Were None the whole book. It was very confusing to me. And then he said the N-word twice, so just don't read that book. That's all I gotta say on that one. And then I read My Policeman by, I think it's Beth Roberts. I could be wrong. Once again, I'll put a picture. I still own this book, but my friend has it because she wanted to read it. I only read this book because it was made into a movie with Harry Styles. I know. Shame, shame. And then I was sad because I didn't like the book, and now I haven't watched the movie. So, wasn't worth it. I enjoyed it in the beginning, a little bit, but then it was just so slow. And then it was just kind of weird. I don't know. It's about this guy. It's told from this girl's perspective. So, this girl, she meets this guy. I want to say it's her friend's brother or something. I could be so wrong because, like I said, I do not remember books very well to begin with. I have a terrible memory when it comes to books for some reason. Especially ones I didn't care about. So, anyway, she's in love with this guy. I can't remember how they know each other, but she's in love with him. And so they start dating and they end up getting married. Well, turns out he also, if not only he ends up going to this not a museum. Yeah, I think it was a museum or an art gallery. It was an art gallery. And the guy who curates it or runs it, he ends up sparking a friendship with him that later also turns into a relationship. And then the girl knows because he introduced them to each other. It was a weird dynamic. And they were they would all hang out. But he would also go be with this guy some nights, but then be with his wife other nights. It was a weird thing. And the ending was weird. It was just strange. I did not enjoy it. But a lot of people do really like it. I know it's one of Harry's favorite books, which is annoying. But whatever. Oh, God. And then I read Bunny. What the was that? I do not understand. Everyone I've seen on YouTube loves that book. They love it. They are like the biggest fans. One YouTuber I watch, she has read it like 3 or 4 times. Maybe to understand what she was reading, perhaps. I don't know. But I just did not like it at all. I think it was supposed to send a message of sorts, but I didn't get it. And I didn't enjoy the road to the end. Like, even if I didn't enjoy the message, if I enjoyed my time reading it, maybe, I don't know. It was not good to me. But everyone else loves it, so maybe I'm wrong. Or maybe that's just, like, not for me. And it was super freaking weird. And what I didn't like the most, I think, was the weirdness wasn't, like, explained. Like, how it worked. That doesn't make sense. I apologize. But I can't really, like, tell you what I'm talking about without spoiling the book. But if you've read Bunny, I think you get it. There's some weird stuff going on. And it wasn't really explained how that could happen, if that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. And it really sucks because I bought a copy of it for me and a copy of it for my friend so we could read it together. And we both didn't like it. If just I didn't like it, it would be worth it. Like, whatever. You loved it. Great. I love that for you. But we both didn't like it. We actually both went to a used bookstore today and took that book to return it. I don't know what else to say. That book is freaking confusing. Then another one I have on here is When the Sky Fell on Splendor by Emily Henry. And I read that because I love Emily Henry's other books. Granted, her other books I love are adult romances. This one was a YA sci-fi situation. And I didn't like it. I didn't care about the people. It's kind of slow. I didn't care. And the ending made me mad. So there's that. It's supposed to be like a Stranger Things-esque. These kids running around all summer doing weird sci-fi-like things. So I thought it was going to be like Stranger Things, right? Which, I mean, it kind of a little bit was. But I don't know. It wasn't as good as Stranger Things, and it kind of just left me wanting something more. And I just didn't like it. The only thing I got out of that book that I listened to was one of the characters. He always said, like, oh my God. Instead of saying God, he would say, oh my God. That sounds so stupid. But he would say, like, G-A-A-A. So now sometimes I say that. Instead of saying, like, actually, oh my God, I'll say, like, what he would say. Because I listened to it so many times, it got ingrained in my brain. So that's the only thing I got out of that book. And I don't think it was a good thing. And then the next one was There's Someone Inside Your House by, I want to say it's like Sarah Perkins. I could be so wrong. But I read that one, or I listened to it because it is a Netflix movie, I believe. It's like a YA horror book, but I just didn't, it was like a romance book most of the time, which is why I didn't like it. Because it was like a romance book, but then like these other chapters would be like super gory and super horror. And I just didn't think the book knew what it was doing. Individually, like the plot of the romance, like if I was going to read a romance, yeah, it would have been fine. Or like individually, if I wanted to read a horror book and like this would have been the horror part, that would have been fine. But together it was really weird. And just like each chapter was just very different from each other. And I don't know. And I just don't feel like kids should be reading horror like that. I was just like, oh, okay then. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't gruesome, detailed explanations of murder. That was not what I was expecting. But it is what I got. It was fine, but that's pretty much why I put it on here, is because it was just weird. But it is about these kids in this town that just keep showing up murdered, and then they're trying to find out who did it. Obviously. Maybe not obviously. But he, like, does it in their home. That's why it's called There's Someone Inside Your House, because he breaks into their home and he ends up killing them. Okay. Great. Then the next one is called Hide by Kiersten White? Something like that. It is a book about these kids who get signed up for this like really cool opportunity to play hide and seek in an amusement park. And the winner gets, I'm pretty sure it's like money. And so all these kids, what in the world? All these kids get like rounded up into this bus and they get dropped off in this like town in the middle of nowhere, and this abandoned, I think I forgot that part, abandoned amusement park. They go play hide and seek. They have from sun up to sundown. By sundown, they need to be back at the base and like asleep. Nothing can happen to them. 2 people get out a day. Okay. It very much reminded me of The Long Walk by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. If you've read that and enjoyed it, this is like a YA version. Except in The Long Walk, they knew. Like, they knew that... Fuck it, I'm gonna spoil it. In The Long Walk, they knew they were gonna die. In Hide, they didn't know they were gonna die. I think it's pretty obvious that the kids are gonna die. But... So other than that, that's pretty much the only difference, is these people knew what they were signing up for, and these people didn't. And then it ends up being this, like, really weird backstory of the game. And I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it. I didn't like The Long Walk either. So that's probably why I didn't enjoy it. It's because it reminded me of that. I didn't like that one. And it's very similar, so it makes sense. And I have not seen a single person say they like that book. Not a single one. Every person I've seen who has read Hide did not like it. Which maybe that also, like, jaded me. Maybe I went into the book thinking I just wasn't going to like it because no one else liked it, so I didn't like it. I don't know. The other book, I've talked about these other two, so I maybe won't talk about them as much. But Luckiest Girl Alive, once again, I listened to it because it was going to be a movie. Didn't really like it, didn't care for the twist or whatever, you know, like the big reveal situation. I did end up watching the movie and it was fine. It was fine. I don't know. I just did not like the book very much at all. I just didn't like it. Don't read it. Or read it. I don't care. And then The Project by Courtney Summers. I did not like either. I went into it thinking it was going to be like a book about a cult. And it kind of was. Like, there was a cult in it. But it's more about this woman really working hard to, like, get in the cult, find her sister, and, like, expose the cult. But she doesn't even get into the cult and, like, you know, make contact with them till, like, the end, really. And then you're like not even sure it's a cult. So it was more like trying to figure out, is this group a cult or not, opposed to like getting into the dynamics of a cult, which is what I thought it was going to be, like us seeing a cult in action, but it wasn't really. So that's why I didn't like that one. I think just because I thought it was going to be something that it wasn't, and so I didn't really enjoy it. But I have seen people really like it, so maybe if you don't have any preconceived notions going into it, maybe you'll enjoy it. I've read another book by Courtney Summers, and I didn't really like that one either, so I probably just won't read any more of her books, because clearly I don't like them. But those are the worst books I read in 2022. Almost said 2020. Wow. In 2022. I think it was 10. But have you read any of these books? Did you like them? Did you not like them? And what was the worst or one of the worst books you read this year? Let me know. Thank you guys for watching. It means a lot to me. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.